the marriage of Eugene Mcfeters and Heather Mcfeters. Appearances are, we have appearing in person, Eugene Mcfeters without counsel. We have by video conferencing with approval of the court, Heather Mcfeters and counsel Ann Schmiege. We're set today in this matter for a contested divorce hearing. We have I'm pulling up the summons and petition at this time. This is a contested divorce without minor children. Mr. Mcfeters, it appears that you are the filing individual. You filed this matter. I have a marital settlement agreement in front of me. I'm going to turn to Ms. Schmiege. Can you update me on this matter, and are all issues resolved?
Most issues are resolved, Your Honor. I've gone back and forth between the parties over the last number of weeks. My understanding is that all of the issues are resolved with the exception of a couple of personal property issues. The marital settlement agreement was drafted. It's gone back and forth, and there have been a couple of different revisions to it. And most recently was sent back to Mr. Mcfeters end of last week. My understanding is that, and he can speak to that, but that the parties are essentially in agreement, save for under the property division. There's a couple of minor contested issues on personal property, specifically Ms. Mcfeters has a list, and that's Exhibit 2 of personal property that she will pick up. Mr. Mcfeters agrees on everything except the riding lawnmower. So I think that's a contested issue. And then I don't know whether or not Mr. Mcfeters is okay with the pickup times, and we had changed it a couple times. I think he's okay with it now, but he would need to confirm that.
All right. So Mr. Mcfeters, with regards to all issues and all matters, minus the riding lawnmower, do you believe that you've reached an agreement with Mrs. Mcfeters?
I believe so. I'm not really in agreement with me not being able to be at the house while she's there picking stuff up. I believe I have a right to be there.
Okay, okay, so that's an issue too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Both of her brothers will be there. There won't be any argument. I want this done and over with just as bad as she does.
But everything else that is in this marital settlement agreement?
Yes. Now there is a $60,000 SBA loan through the business that we own. I would like that to be paid from the sale of the house. I understand they've got it in the agreement that we're both responsible for half. But so nobody's got to worry about it. It should be paid from the sale of the house. And that way there's no way it's going to come back on me totally.
And so I have a copy of Exhibit 1, Ms. Schmiege, but it's not signed. So you don't have a signed marital settlement agreement?
No,
no, there's never been a signed one. I submitted Exhibit 1 so that we would have something in writing to go through with the parties. And what I would ask is that with any modifications to the marital settlement agreement, is that essentially it be incorporated into the findings, either by way of me drafting, and bringing the provisions over from the marital settlement agreement into the findings after the fact, or that it be attached as an exhibit to the findings. But the marital settlement agreement, as indicated, the parties are in agreement except for the personal property, the riding lawnmower, and the pickup provisions. And then with regard to the SBA loan, Ms. Mcfeters indicates she's working with the accountant because the parties may be able to get that debt reduced. They may be able to negotiate and reduce it. And so she doesn't want to commit to simply paying it off with the proceeds of the sale of the home, because it may be that the parties can pay less than the full amount on it. But in any event, they would be equally responsible, and there's hold harmless provisions and everything in here.
All right. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have both Mrs. Mcfeters and Mr. Mcfeters, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Even though you filed for the divorce, Mr. McFeeters, you're not represented, so I'm gonna have Ms. Schmiege start with the questioning. So she's going to call her client and ask the questioning, and then just the basics of the divorce, and then get the basics out for what's being agreed to, and then we'll move on to you, and you can provide your testimony and your answers, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Ms. Schmiege, you may proceed.
Okay, thank you, Judge. Ms. McFeeters, please state your full name and address.
Heather Michelle McFeeters, 1015 West 10th Street, Coffeyville, Kansas, 69339.
Did you have an opportunity to review the petition that Mr. McFeeters filed at the time that he filed it?
It was not presented to me. I got to see it through the court docket.
Okay.
So yes,
And since that time, have you reviewed it?
yes,
And was the information that was in that petition true and accurate at the time it was filed?
Correct.
Okay. Are you in good health?
yes,
Are you a member of the armed forces?
no,
Do you believe that your marriage to Mr. McFeeters is irretrievably broken?
yes,
Are you currently pregnant?
no,
You completed a financial disclosure statement that was filed on November 6th of 2024. Have there been any significant changes other than minor bank account balance changes and that sort of thing since November 2024?
no,
And your only income at this time consists of sales proceeds that you're receiving, that you, Mr. McFeeters, had owned a business, Yellow River Saloon. It was sold. You and he are each receiving $354.83 a month. Is that correct?
correct,
And that's your only income at this time.
correct.
And in terms of paying your monthly expenses, how do you manage that with your income?
My brother helps me out. My brother Rick helps me out.
Okay. Is there any reason why you can't work right now?
No,
So you have the ability to work, you're just taking a break at this time, is that correct?
correct,
You and Mr. McFeeters haven't entered into a marital settlement agreement, but we've prepared one and it's gone back and forth multiple times between the two of you, is that correct?
correct,
And do you agree with my statement to the court that you and he basically have an agreement on the vast majority of issues, but there's the issue about the SBA loan, and then there's some minor issues with regard to personal property, correct?
correct,
And with regard to maintenance, you and Mr. McFeeters are both waiving any claim you may have against the other party for maintenance, is that right?
correct,
And you're doing that even though at this time you have no income, correct?
correct.
Do you believe without maintenance, between the proceeds that you get from Yellow River Saloon and the help from your brother, right now you're able to meet your monthly expenses, correct?
Correct.
And if you chose to do so, you're capable of returning to the workforce, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And so you're capable of supporting yourself, is that right?
Yes.
And you understand that your maintenance waiver is final. You can't come back into court in the future and ask Mr. McFeeters for maintenance at any point in time.
Correct. Yes.
With regard to property division, the main asset that the two of you own is a residence in Siren. Is that correct?
Correct.
And Mr. McFeeters has been living there during the pendency of this divorce. Is that right?
Yes. Correct.
You and he have both agreed to immediately list the property for sale with Christina Whitaker with Edina Realty. You're both going to cooperate and make sure it's listed by the end of the month, and cooperate in terms of communications and staying on top of any communications with Ms. Whitaker. Is that right?
Correct.
You understand until the house is sold, Mr. McFeeters will have possession of the house.
Yes. Correct.
And he's to maintain it and take care of the monthly expenses and any minor repairs, but you understand if there's major repairs or improvements that need to be done to the house to get it sold, you and he will be equally responsible for any of those agreed upon repairs, correct?
Yes, correct.
With regard to the other property, you and he are each keeping any bank accounts in your name. He's keeping his retirement accounts and life insurance in his name, which are fairly minor. He's receiving the Chevy Blazer and the Pontiac. You're receiving the GMC Yukon and Harley. Have those vehicles already been divided? In other words, you have the vehicles you're keeping, he has the vehicles he's keeping.
Yes, and he also has a boat, a 96 Lund boat also.
Okay, that he'll be retaining.
Yes,
And then you're each receiving one half of the interest that you have in the Yellow River Saloon, and that's the monthly payment that you're receiving, correct?
correct.
And the SBA loan that's associated with that business, you understand you're both in some capacity going to be equally responsible for that, is that right?
Correct.
And you heard Mr. Mcfeters indicate he wants to get it taken care of out of the sales proceeds from the house. You don't agree with that approach, correct?
Correct, I do not.
And can you explain to the court why?
Because I'm dealing with the accountant right now that we are hoping that there is a decrease in the amount that is owed, or it could be written off altogether.
Will you continue to work with the accountant, you know, and use good faith efforts to get that resolved in one way or the other as soon as possible?
Yes,
And you understand if the issue hasn't been resolved before the house sells and you and Mr. Mcfeters are each responsible for half that debt, you have an obligation to make sure you're paying your half, either making payments on it or paying it outright, so that Mr. Mcfeters doesn't somehow end up paying the bill on that, correct?
correct.
And then with regard to the marital residence, once it sells, the net proceeds would be divided equally between the two of you. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. With regard to the personal property, you have Exhibit 2 as an email that you sent to me. That's essentially the personal property that you want to pick up at the house, correct?
Correct.
And it's your understanding that Mr. Mcfeters agrees on all of those items except the Craftsman riding lawnmower. He'd like to retain that. Is that correct?
Correct.
First of all, how did you acquire the Craftsman riding lawnmower?
My grandfather's inheritance money.
Okay, when did you receive that?
April 14th, 2017.
And when did you buy the Craftsman lawnmower?
It was either May or June of that same year, 2017.
How much was the inheritance that you received?
$40,000.
And what was the balance of it used for?
We bought the riding lawnmower, the push mower. I paid off his motorcycle, and it went to other bills such as credit cards and other things like that.
Okay. And what was the cost of the riding lawnmower?
I don't remember, honestly. It was under 6,000, I think.
You understand that Mr. Mcfeters is responsible for maintaining the marital residence until it's sold. Do you have a proposal in terms of when you would pick up the riding lawnmower that would allow him to retain it until that property is sold?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I wanted him to use it. That would have been something we discussed. It would have been him using them till the house sold, because the yard needs to be taken care of. Yes.
With regard to the pickup of the property, how did we come up with the times that we have in here in terms of your proposal is that on May 19th, you would come to the house between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. and again from 7 p.m. until midnight, and again on May 20th if necessary. And that Mr. Mcfeters would vacate the premises during those times, except that he could be at the house between 11 and 3 while you moved your items from the garage. What is the reason that you want him to vacate the house, first of all?
I don't want any trouble. I don't want him like causing problems, like staring at me, yelling at me, talking to me. Like I want him in and get out, but that's the whole thing. Like I just want in and out.
There's language in here about you can bring your brother Rick, and the petitioner can have arranged to have your brother Eric be there. Do you think that Rick and Eric will make sure that if you go there without Mr. Mcfeters being present, that you're not taking anything you're not supposed to be taking and acting appropriately with regard to the house?
Yes, I believe that would be just fine.
And the idea, he'll be at the house, he works third shift, correct?
Correct.
And so he would likely be at the house sleeping during the daytime pickup on Monday. And at that point, you plan on just going into the garage to get the items in the garage, not into the house. Is that right?
Correct. Correct. He should be sleeping about that time, I would assume. So.
Okay. And you just want to kind of stay out of each other's hair, essentially.
Correct.
Other than the SBA loan, you understand you and Mr. Mcfeters are both responsible for any debts that you have, correct?
Correct.
And you have, the debt that you have is as listed in, under the property division, that you have a GMC Yukon subject to the debt thereon. You're responsible for that Yukon debt, is that right?
Yes.
You have you filed your 2024 taxes already? Yes. Okay, you understand for 2025, you and Mr. Mcfeters will be divorced. You'll file separately without claiming any income from the other party, correct?
Yes, correct.
And you understand you're both responsible for your own health insurance and uninsured medical expenses going forward. Is that right? As well as you'll be responsible for my attorney fees.
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that the terms of this marital settlement agreement, it hasn't been signed, but do you believe that the terms of the agreement as drafted are fair and reasonable?
Yes.
And you're asking that the court incorporate the terms of the agreement that we drafted, as well as the list that's in Exhibit 2, the list of personal property, that be incorporated into her findings. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, I don't have any further questions for Ms. Mcfeters, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Mcfeters, you have an ability now to ask Mrs. Mcfeters any questions that you wish to ask, if you have any.
It says on her financial statement that she's living with her brother and that he's paying her bills. There is a recorded phone conversation.
Again, this is only your time to ask her questions.
Okay. Why would you lie about that?
Lie about what?
Your financial disclosure and Rick paying all your bills.
It's not a lie.
Okay. Fine.
Any other questions? Okay. All right. Any other witnesses, Ms. Schmege?
No, Judge.
Mr. Mcfeters, I'm now going to ask you some basic questions, and then you can provide with some information, opportunity to ask you questions too. You heard the testimony of, well, first, your name is Eugene Mcfeters, correct?
Correct.
What is your date of birth?
3/28/70.
And when were you married?
2014.
No, that's
And-
incorrect, Your Honor.
All right,
It's
Wait.
Ms.
2012.
Mcfeters, Ms. Mcfeters, you
Oh.
can't answer the questions
Oh,
and you
sorry.
can't speak. It's his time.
It was 8/31/21.
Okay. All
Or
right,
12, sorry.
all right. And when were you separated?
She left the state in May of last year.
Okay. And Did you, before you filed for divorce, did you live in Wisconsin at least 6 months prior to filing?
Yes,
And did you live in Burnett County at least 30 days prior to filing?
yes.
And you properly served Ms. McFeters?
I tried to have her serve all except for publicly.
Okay,
'Cause-
but obviously she knows about this. She has an attorney. She
Right.
accepted service.
Yeah,
And there's no other legal actions affecting this marriage in any other jurisdiction?
not that I'm aware of.
Are you in the military service?
No, I'm not.
Are you able to work, or do you have a disability where you're not able to work?
Nope, I work full time.
Okay. And do you believe that the marriage is irretrievably broken?
Absolutely.
And you heard that in Ms. McFeeters' testimony that she is waiving maintenance, which is formerly known as alimony. And are you doing the same?
Yes,
And do you understand that once you waive maintenance, it's forever and you can't come back to court and say, you know what, I've changed my mind?
correct.
Do you understand that if Ms. McFeeters goes out to a gas station right after this hearing and she purchases a lottery ticket, she wins $1 million, you would not be entitled to any of that? Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
And so you're waiving that, their ability to seek maintenance freely and intelligently and voluntarily?
Yes,
And you heard testimony from Ms. McFeeters as it relates to certain property. All property that she testified to, except for the riding lawnmower, you're in agreement with her receiving, is that
Yes.
correct? You just have some contention with that riding lawnmower?
Mm. We'll go with her story. Once the house sells, she can have it. I don't care.
Okay, so you no longer contest the riding lawnmower. And as it relates to that SBA loan, do you care if it's the full 60,000, or would you rather have it reduced?
Well, I'd rather have it reduced, but I've talked to the accountant twice last week and he said that she hasn't talked to him about it.
But but you would like to have the SBA loan paid out of the proceeds of any sale of the home?
I would, yes. That way nobody's got to deal with anything later.
Anything else you want to add on that?
No,
What other debts of the marriage are there?
we've got the house and that should be it.
No credit cards?
Most of those are gone already.
All right, Ms. Schmiege, questions?
Mr. McFeters, did you have an opportunity to go through the marital settlement agreement that I sent you late last week?
Yes,
And other than your comments about the SBA loan and about you wanting to be present at the personal property exchange, were you in agreement with all of the other provisions?
yes,
And you understand with regard to the house, because you're living in the house, it'll be your responsibility to make sure it's kept tidy and in a condition that's appropriate to show to potential buyers, correct?
correct.
And you agree to work with Christina Whitaker and cooperate to make sure that the house is listed by the end of this month, is that right?
Yes,
And you'll also cooperate by responding to any communication from Ms. Whitaker within 24 hours, as well as signing whatever necessary paperwork is required within 24 hours. Is that correct?
yes,
Okay. And while until the house is actually sold, you'll have possession of the house, and you're responsible for making the mortgage payments and property tax payments and keeping insurance on it. You understand that?
yes,
And then you'll be responsible for any normal maintenance and repairs. If there's anything major, any major improvements that need to be done or repairs that need to be done, you'll communicate that with Ms. McFeters, and the two of you will share the cost of any agreed upon repairs and improvements. You understand that as well?
yes,
Are you do you agree with Ms. Mcfeters that if her two brothers are present at the pickup, Rick and Eric, that they'll make sure that there's no funny business and that she's not removing anything she's not supposed to be removing?
I would think they would, but they don't know what belonged to my parents, my grandparents.
Okay, what is it that you're worried about her taking?
Things that have been passed down in my family for years.
I have a question. If something were to be removed that is not a part of the list of the property that she's taking, would you know? Would that stand out to you?
Yes,
Do you understand? I just want to make sure, do you understand that you could bring that matter into court for contempt?
okay.
Okay,
All
so you
right.
understand that?
I understand that now. Thank you.
All right, so does that ease your mind a little bit?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Schmiege, you may continue.
Thank you. So as long as, as long as Ms. McFeeters sticks to the list here and her two brothers, I know you prefer to have Eric there to oversee as well. Her two brothers are present at her pickup. Are you comfortable with the way we have it in here as far as the property pickup?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any other further questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. McFeeters, anything else you want to let me know?
No.
Right? All right, anything else, Ms. Schmiege?
No, Judge, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I have heard the testimony from the parties here today. As to exhibits 1 and 2, I will receive those exhibits. Exhibit 1 would be demonstrative only. As to the financial disclosure statements filed by both sides, I will receive those as well. I believe all necessary residential and jurisdictional requirements have been met and the applicable waiting period has lapsed. The court will find that the marriage between Eugene Mcfeters and Heather Mcfeters is irretrievably broken and there's no chance of reconciliation. The court will find that the waiver of maintenance by both parties has been done freely and voluntarily and has been done intelligently, that they both understand the nature and the purpose of the award of maintenance and the finality of their decision here today to waive maintenance. The court will adopt the agreement of the parties as stated on the record as it relates to the property and the debt of the parties, and find that the agreement is approximately a 50-50 division of the parties' assets. The court, as it relates to the pickup times, the court will state that as long as if that Mr. McFeeters will not be at the exchange or the property pickup when Mrs. McFeeters will be in the home, as long as Eric is present and her other brother is present, but in particular Eric, Mr. McFeeters understands that if he notices anything is missing of his property that is not on the list, he has court action that he can take Ms. McFeeters to court for violating the agreement. The court will adopt Exhibit 2 and will order that all assets on and property listed on this will be Mrs. McFeeters' property, including the riding lawnmower, but that Mr. McFeeters will have the ability to use that riding lawnmower. And if Ms. McFeeters is in agreement as well, the push lawnmower until the sale of the home is completed. The court will order that both parties will share equally in the debt of the SBA loan. It is currently approximately $60,000, give or take. Ms. Mcfeters is in the process of working to have that loan hopefully reduced or waived altogether. However, the court is going to put the statement in that upon the sale of the home, $60,000 will go into an escrow after the sale of the home to go towards the payment of the SBA loan. If the parties are able to reduce that loan and get some of it or all of it waived, then at least that money will be there to pay off equally what each party it will be responsible for, and then they will have to share any other remaining property or remaining funds in that escrow account. Or if they're unable to waive any of that debt for the SBA loan, at least there will be that $60,000 there to pay off or almost pay off that SBA loan. I do not have the exact amount that is owed, only the approximate $60,000 in that SBA loan. So $60,000 will be ordered to go into an escrow after the sale of the house. The sale of the house is ordered to be at least listed by May 31st, 2025. Mr. Mcfeters will keep the home in a saleable condition until that the sale is completed, and the house would be listed at a fair market value to ensure that both parties will receive as much equity in the home and as much profit in the home as they practically can, and they will each receive 50-50 of the profits of that home. The court will now order that Ms. Mcfeters may resume her maiden name if she wishes to do so. What is your maiden name, Ms. Mcfeters?
It's Krieger, Kreager.
Kreager?
Correct.
All right. If she wishes to do so, but once you start changing your name, you must do so in a relatively quick fashion in all aspects with all accounts and all things. Neither of you are free to marry within the next 6 months. If you in any jurisdiction across the world, if you do, it is a void marriage. All right, I believe that covers everything and all the findings that the court needs to make. Ms. Schmiege, please draft the findings of fact, conclusions of law, adopting that is stated on the record as to the agreement of the parties and the additional orders of the court made on the record here today. Anything further that you would like to add or inquire about, Ms. Schmiege?
Points. With regard to the order that Mr. Mcfeters isn't at the house at the property pickup, there was one carve out for that, which is on Monday, May 9th, between 11 and 3. He's likely to be there sleeping. He can be there as long as he stays out of Ms. Mcfeters' way, and she's going to limit herself to the garage. So I just wanted to make sure that was clarified. And then number 2, with regard to the findings, do you want me to draft just sort of one comprehensive findings where I put all of the information that's in the marital settlement agreement into that findings, or can I take the exhibit 1 and attach it as an exhibit to the findings and note that it's an unsigned marital settlement agreement, but these provisions are being adopted into the findings?
Please do in one document. So bring what was agreed upon into the findings of fact. So it's just
Okay.
one document. And yes, with regards to that date and time where you will be sleeping, you're more than welcome to stay and be in bed and sleep so that you can have your proper sleep. Anything from you, Mr. Mcfeters? All right, if that's it,
I have something.
then yes, Ms. Mcfeters.
How long will be the length of the escrow for this?
Well, how long do you think it'll be before you're able to?
Well, the
See
accountant
if-
has somebody that he has 15 years and they haven't even done anything with it for 15 years.
Well, 6 months and 6 months, and then it'll be paid off. I'm sure Mr. Mcfeters doesn't want to wait 15 years. So if you can have yours reduced then, and you want to leave your 30,000 in escrow and see if you can reduce your 30,000 of the SBA loan and then go from there. I think Mr. Mcfeters would rather have his 30,000 and his 30,000 in the SBA paid off. Correct?
Correct.
Correct. So the escrow will be at least 6 months, and then his portion of the SBA will be paid off, holding him harmless on your half. And if you fail to pay your half and it causes any detrimental harm and damage to Mr. Mcfeters and his credit, then he has other avenues through court action.
Thank you.
So,
All right.
and the escrow, I don't know if I'm hoping that the real estate agency that handles the closing, that they're able to escrow those funds. If not, I guess my office can do that. I'm just trying to think through the eventualities and how this works, but basically after 6 months, if the amounts haven't been reduced, if it's not resolved yet, Mr. Mcfeters wishes for his $30,000 to be directed, or what one half of whatever the outstanding balance is, to be directed to the SBA loan. And then with regard to Ms. Mcfeters' share, is that to remain in escrow until she either directs that it pay off her half of the SBA loan, or
Well,
will
it can
that
be released to her and she can determine if she wants to continue to fight to reduce it or pay it off, but with the understanding that she knows that if she doesn't pay it and it causes detrimental effects to Mr. Mcfeters and or his credit, that she could face contempt and or other actions through filings of Mr. Mcfeters.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
Anything else?
Not from my end.
All right, then we are adjourned. We're giving her a total of $350 today. You have it in your pocket.
I do.
You just walk right over and you hand that to Miss Vogt right now. Do you have anything else in your wallet?
Yeah. Like.
Any other cash? How
Yeah.
much?
Enough for gas for the rest of the week to get my daughter to school.
How much is it?
$20, maybe a little more.
Yep, walk exactly all the money you have right now over to Miss Vogt.
350 is what he just handed me.
Yes, and he's going to hand you all the other cash in his wallet right now.